Welcome to the Get Fit Guys quick and dirty tips to slim down and shape up. My name is Brock Armstrong, and I'm the Get Fit Guy. The physical and mental challenges of an obstacle race are great, and they test every aspect of your fitness. I took part in my first Tough Mudder event knowing exactly what I was getting myself into. I had trained and prepared myself as much as possible, and I was ready to have a really fun day of teamwork and getting really dirty. What I didn't know or prepare for was that the weather was going to really turn on us drastically. The sun went away, the rain came, the wind began to blow, and then finally it actually snowed on us. And at one point I was so cold that when I jumped into the icy water in the obstacle known as the Arctic Enema, well, I really didn't notice any temperature difference at all. Many times during that event, I wished that I was on the set of that show American Ninja Warrior, where everyone seems warm and, well, mostly dry. Now, despite the fact that our teeth were still chattering down at the finish line when we were getting cleaned up by hosing ourselves down, we were still smiling, laughing, and high-fiving like crazy, so I guess it couldn't have been all that bad. Now, obstacle course races, or OCR for short, like Spartan and Tough Mudder and Warrior Dash, have been sweeping the nation for a few years now. From 20,000 participants in its debut in 2010, the Tough Mudder alone has had 2 million participants to date. There are more than 60 Spartan races every year in the USA alone, and if you have heard the ads on this very podcast, you will know that they boast 5 million people in their obstacle-loving community. Obstacle racing, in a nutshell, is an event where you must overcome various physical challenges, between which you make forward progress on foot. The physical challenges, or obstacles, include things like climbing over walls, carrying heavy objects, traversing bodies of water, crawling under barbed wire, jumping through fire, and more. Since the creation of these races is rooted in the military, well, it's no surprise that many obstacles are similar to those that you see in army movies, where the hero is going through their basic training, either failing hilariously or succeeding heartwarmingly. But over the years, the obstacles have become more and more unique, and they now pretty much all test endurance, strength, speed, mobility, grit, and of course, mental toughness. The OCR races vary in distance and difficulty level, combining trail running, road running, and cross-country running in distances ranging from 1-mile arena sprint events to a 26.2 or more mile death races, as they're called. Some of them are staged in the middle of a nice flat field, while others, like the one that I did, take place on an out-of-season ski hill. OCR is still a relatively new sport, and word has it that the UK's Tough Guy race was the first one that was created in the 1980s, as was the Camp Pendleton Mud Run in San Diego. But these events didn't really take off in North America until around 2010. Now, some say the roots of these races go as far back as the ancient Olympic pentathlon, which included 5 events consisting of a short running race, javelin throw, discus throw, long jump, and it finished with a wrestling match. Now, wherever it originated, or whoever was the first to come up with the idea, I'm pretty sure that every kid in history has set up some sort of obstacle course in their backyard and ran themselves and their friends through it. And if the popularity of these races is any indication, well, we're all just still big kids playing in the mud and climbing over the neighbor's fence. Now let's talk about the events themselves. Starting with that race that I did back on that snowy day in September, and yes, I do live in Canada. Tough Mudders are not really races per se because there's no timer. It is, instead, a non-competitive challenge where teamwork is encouraged and often required. For me, there was absolutely no way that I was going to be able to pull myself up the wall of mud that was in front of me without a boost from the bottom and a hand from the top. And of course, I took my turn boosting and pulling when the time came. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, Spartan races are more about competition than teamwork. There is a timer, and unless you brought along some super helpful and non-competitive friends, you are on your own. They also pride themselves on the Spartan-esque, no-frills obstacles that kind of look as though you could have purchased them from the local hardware store. Now, the Warrior Dash, on the other hand, is apparently, well, simply an active excuse to party. Finishers get fuzzy warrior hats and are greeted with greasy turkey legs and beer in the finishers area. Along with the awards for speed, there's also an award for the craziest costume. Now, if you've been watching TV at odd hours of the day, you may have seen The American Ninja Warrior. That show is actually based on a wacky show called Sasuke, which is from the Tokyo Broadcasting System. Sasuke is currently in its 35th season in Japan, which makes it nearly as old as the Tough Guy race in the UK. While the Japanese version is whimsical and, well, almost brutal in its humor, the American Ninja Warrior takes itself a little more seriously and adds elements like drama rather than humiliation. Now, the show called Ultimate Beastmaster, which is on Netflix, is actually more similar to the Ninja Warrior and Sasuke in many ways. The biggest difference is that the course is an impressive structure that is designed to look like the insides of an enormous beast. The dinosaur-like design takes it so far that the obstacles are actually called the digestive tract and spinal descent. Contestants enter through the mouth of the beast and, well, you can guess the rest. One of the hosts of the show, former NFL football player turned actor Terry Crews, loves to remind the audience of this beastly resemblance with his bloody catchphrase. The biggest difference between these shows and the events that you and I can participate in is the lack of running between the obstacles. I would guess that this has to do with the camera angles and the duration of the show. I mean, if a camera had been following me for the 2+ hours I was out running around on that ski hill looking miserable in my first Tough Mudder event, well, the audience would have turned off the TV and the show would have been cancelled before I even crossed the finish line. So it makes sense that the TV versions are set up the way that they are. Now, that being said, CBS did actually cover the Spartan World Championships in Lake Tahoe in 2017, so who knows what the future holds for televising these events. Alright, in my article and podcast that was called What Does the Word Fitness Really Mean?, I outlined what I think are the most important parts of fitness, and no, six-pack abs and a thigh gap are not listed. Interestingly, though, many of the components that make a well-rounded and fit human are involved in obstacle racing. Components such as being able to carry heavy loads of groceries or a child or supplies all the way home, or get around an office building or an apartment without the need for elevators, or stay on your feet for an entire workday without the need to sit down, or move large pieces of furniture to clean behind them. Or even just walk, run, or cycle to your workplace or performing errands, and, as strange as it sounds, squat or sit on the ground without the need for a pillow or some lumbar support. Now, I don't want to go all survivalist weirdo who lives in a bunker on you, but to recap some of the points from that earlier article, let me ask you this. If a particularly uncute dog was chasing you, would you be able to lift your own body weight over a fence to avoid getting your shoes nibbled? Or if your home was on fire, would you be able to lower yourself off of your balcony or your roof to safety? If your car broke down in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, well, how far could you power walk to go get help? Not to mention the ever-important question, in a zombie apocalypse, could you outrun one of those fast-moving zombies from the movie 28 Days Later? These are all skills that you would develop if you trained for an obstacle course race. So how would you train for an obstacle course race? Well, here are 5 examples of workouts that will get you ready for an obstacle course race and also whip you into the kind of fitness that I was just outlining. Now, you may have trouble following along in this audio version, so I'll encourage you to go to getfitguy.quickanddirtytips.com and look for episode 386. and you can find all of these workouts outlined really nicely in text. Here we go with the audio version. Number 1 is the glute burner, and this is a simple workout that requires only you and your buns of steel. The first thing you do is 200 meters of walking lunges. Then you run a maximum distance for 5 minutes. Then you do another 200 meters of walking lunges and you run the maximum distance for 4 minutes. Then again, 200 meters of walking lunges and run as fast as you can for 3 minutes. Then, you guessed it, 200 meters of walking lunges and then run your maximum distance for 2 minutes and then 200 meters of walking lunges and 1 minute all out running. Now, workout number 2 is called Battle Lungs and Legs. And all you need for this one is a set of dumbbells or kettlebells for this absolute lung buster. Now you do 3 to 5 rounds for time, which is as fast as you can with good form. And you do 50 leg levers, 40 mountain climbers, 30 burpees, 20 kettlebell or dumbbell swings, and 10 dumbbell man makers. And again, you do that 3 or 5 times through as fast as you can without losing good form. Very important. Number 3 is called the running bear. Now, to do what is called a bear complex, you will need a barbell. You do these exercises in this order, back to back. So you do power clean, front squat, push press, back squat, and a second set of push presses. Now, completion of these 5 lifts equals 1 rep. Now, this is how it goes. You do 10 bear complex using a challenging weight, then run 1 mile. Then do 8 bear complex, followed by running 800 meters. Then 6 bear complex, followed by running 400 meters. 4 bear complex, followed by 200 meters. And a final 2 bear complex. Whew. Now, number 4 is called heavy stuff stairs. And all you need for this is something heavy and a flight of stairs. So you find a staircase that's like 3 to 5 flights long. At the bottom of the stairs, you do 5 to 10 clean and jerks with your heavy item, like a sandbag or a heavy backpack or some dumbbells. Then you carry that heavy item to the top of the stairs and carry it back down the stairs. Then you set your heavy thing down and you hold a plank position for 60 seconds. Now you repeat this for as many rounds as you can or that you have time for. And the 5th and final workout is called Living Room Beast. And for this one, you only need a chair and something to jump onto. Now you do as many rounds as possible of 10 lunge jumps per side, 15 burpees, then 20 box jumps onto the couch or something else, then 25 chair dips, followed by 30 jumping jacks, and then you finish it off with a 2 to 5 minute cold shower. Now, remember that Arctic enema that I mentioned earlier. That's what that's for. Now, if you're a marathon runner, a triathlete, or a yoga enthusiast, these workouts may seem like the machinations of a madman, but if you give them a try just a few times per week, you will enjoy the increase in your stress resilience, the increase in your lung capacity, the increase in your lactic acid threshold, and many other important increases in physiological parameters. You keep this up for a while, and next thing you know, you will be the one causing Terry Crews to say those dreaded of all words, "into the blood," as you make your way through the ultimate Beastmaster. Now, for more obstacle infos, beastly tips, and to join in the Spartan-esque conversation, head over to facebook.com/getfitguy or twitter.com/getfitguy or getfitguy.quickanddirtytips.com, where you'll find all of the workouts I just talked about and some links and some other fun stuff. And of course, a transcript of every single one of the Get Fit Guy podcasts. Now, my name is Brock Armstrong, and I'm the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Go get fit.